which, Loud might not want to do, especially with this composition. The Azir, Xayah, Rakan here with a team fighting jungler. This is typical mid to late game team fight composition. And then Robo gets one of his favorite picks, one of his most played champions in that Olaf on the top side into a matchup that he chose, right? He saw the Renekton and said, I can do this. And so Loud have everything they want here. They've got their comfort. It's really up to Kabum to try and interrupt that, make things happen in the early game. Because you drafted a Renekton, you drafted Lucian Nami, like we said last game. That's an early game composition, especially that bot side. They've got to win out early.
Yep, and scary. Again, you could see, yes, item builds, but Keystone Runes as well tell you these champions that sit on the fence what they're going to do as the game goes on. Scary first game for him on the Gragas. That's not wholly surprising. But on the Aftershock, and with the amount of damage that you have of different types on the rest of your team, yeah, you're going to grab yourself a tanky Gragas there. But yeah, they've indexed really, really heavily into early game. And I never thought I'd be in a place where I'd say this in a League of Legends meta, but I actually haven't cast a Renekton game in a long, long time. But like you said, this is a lot of indexing into the early game. And usually you see that with a hyperscaling bottom lane. Robo going to get himself, or actually Scary, drop down the smite there. Seos going in immediately here. Don't have that level 2 crazy disengage with the battle dance right back onto your Xayah, but I am glad that this combination is back in pro play. I think Xayah Rakan is a ton of fun.
It's fun to play. Laning less so to a certain extent, to watch at least.
I got bodied by a Xayah in solo queue last night, man. Like I know you're right, but I'm having a hard time, wrapping my head around that right now.
What does she do in lane? She just throws feathers at you. She tickles you 4x4.
Yeah, and then I couldn't dodge the feathers. They were behind me. I was looking forward. I am very ticklish. Yes. Root gonna drop the heal here, as does the boy in Skuro, laying down the hurt. You talk about that first strike damage, and Root not able to return that damage like we saw in the last game quite as much. This is good early pressure from Duds and Skuro.
Take notes for it. That's how you deal with those feathers. Just ram it down the throat with the gun, I guess. Duds doing that with Lucian here. Yeah, gun's better than feathers. Today we learned. I was much more interested in what's happening topside, actually. Not in lane necessarily, but with the jungle invade. Because a critical point I've had about Loud so far is that they've left Croc to dry in the early game. He wants to make those aggressive early moves, invades, ganks, and his lanes just aren't helping him, aren't setting him up. And this game, we get to see something different, where Robo actually solo invades onto Scary, slowing him down, allowing Croc to farm up and get that level advantage, at least a little bit here. And that's super important for Sejuani, because you do want to get that Glacial Prison as soon as possible.
And we saw how impactful that ability can be in the last game. Hitting every single one was until the last one. But Yuri getting the shove here. Yeah, this is a matchup that early on here, right? Your Sylas is you're actually gonna feel okay with. Doran Shield in line for some nerfs in next patch, but not this one. See if this wave is enough. Robo doing a great job of freezing it. They're not going to have enough here. TP down. Lonely taking a bunch of tower shots, but actually executed very, very cleanly. Okay, Kabum.
That was beautiful. I want a replay of that just to watch the timing on Lonely stepping out from turret there. Yuri, can he complete the recall? He's interrupted here, but I don't think Croc wins this.
No, I don't think so either. He has to flash away. Tiddones, the order is given to dissuade Kabum from anything else. Yuri didn't have a ton of mana left. If he did, maybe they look for a punish. Maybe Yuri flashes over that wall and they look for a little something extra. Meanwhile, the fireworks go on in the bottom lane. Duds boy down. Root grabbing himself an early kill, and all the nice things we said kind of go up in smoke.
Okay, maybe we don't take notes on how Duds used with the Lucian deals with the Xayah there. Huge prop to Root and Seos. Last game we had talked about Bvoy, for example, about how he's not been that strong a performer in the first half. And I applied that to Root as well. I feel like these Korean AD carries that came in haven't been performing up to standard. So I'm very happy right now to see Root be able to find that 2v2 kill, because that is not how a Lucian Nami lane is supposed to go. And if your Xayah is winning out early, it's going to win out even harder later.
Force the flash out of Lonely is Robo. Now Lonely down both summoners. Robo still got the flash to close a gap potentially, but that ghost a lot more valuable on the Olaf. Once he hits 6, you kind of get a little bit of a free ghost. Let's check this one out here. It seems like Duds and Skrull, they just got separated.
Yeah. And we joked a lot about Seos and Duds, you know, the divorce between this bot lane who's been together forever. And last year we said, hey, Seos won that. This year I'm saying Duds looking pretty good. You know, he might have won out a little bit this split, but that's not the case topside. Lonely still going in here.
Lonely's got that level advantage and just mauls Robo. You see it in Robo's face, just kind of lips pursed a little bit. Yeah, I got what was coming to me in that one.
Yep.
And this is going, geez, and the CS difference as
Yep.
well. This has been very, very Lonely favored. That dive paying off wonderfully, keeping his foot on the gas. That's what you need as a Renekton. That is so often what is criticized about that champion. Yes, you get these early leads. What are you doing with them? Right now, he's putting Robo in the dirt. His team is getting a dragon on the other side of the map. Things are looking up for Kabum.
And I just wonder if that's a little bit of overconfidence. It comes from that level 1 where Robo missed part of that wave in order to push out Scary. And that's why Lonely has that level advantage right now. The most important thing for a Renekton, especially in the early game, more than items, is just the levels, the abilities you get. And now that Lonely is level 6 as well, Robo getting back to lane has to be very, very careful. There's an entire level difference between them. Croc is only level 5, does not have the ultimate, so I don't think there's that big a threat onto Duds as long as they're respectful here.
Yeah, well, and now they're feeling a little more emboldened because Scary hops over the wall here and starts beating the dickens out of a ward with a barrel. You ever read some of like the old lore, like before we decided that Summoner's Rift wasn't this like mercenary gladiatorial arena, and how Kragus was just a drunkard wandering the world to find the greatest beer ever? Old League lore was wild. They've done a very good job of making that not the case here. Yeah, both these junglers right now just kind of playing chicken. Like you said, no ultimate for either one of these is the reason basically that no one is going all in right now.
That's going to change real soon for before.
Yeah.
Much like League lore changed. Once they
True,
hit level 6,
true.
Once they grow up, they'll unlock those ultimates. They'll have a lot more impact. I'm gonna say I actually miss old League lore because they didn't fully explain everything. Like Shaco
There was
was
some
just,
mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, Shaco was just a nightmare, a clown. No explanation needed. Love that. Wish it was still kind of that way. And some of the other League lore, which I don't know, they've retconned a lot of stuff, so I'm not sure what of what I know is still accurate. Great dodge away from Duds here. I think the bot laners are waiting for level 6 as well, because once there is level 6, Duds and Skuro will probably look to trade a little bit more heavily here.
No, I mean for both of them, for all 4 members of that bottom lane, that is such a huge spike. Speaking of big spikes, the top jungle and the mid laners have now hit level 6. We might get a scrap here. In the mid lane, Lonely pops the Dominus. So much power in the early game. There goes the Emperor's Divide. Oh, hey, there's 2 of them because you got a Silas and he could steal some ultimates. Now Yuri looking for the follow-up here. Flashes over the wall, just followed Tino's immediately. Scary with the follow-up immediately on top of Croc, and he goes down. Kaboom, all gas, no brakes. They walk away winners 2 for 1.
This, for is to me how I feel like Kabum should be playing, right? They've got Lonely, Scary, Yuri, Duds, all very mechanical players. Force these skirmishes with the advantages you do have. And even though Lonely goes down incredibly quickly, he did enough damage with that dominance. He did his AoE. Job done. Yuri's good to go. And you can see that Kabum actually have first move here. Yuri is there a little bit sooner, and Tino has to be careful how he approaches this. Has to burn those spells to get over the wall, so he didn't have necessarily all the damage that Yuri had in his pocket. And even those low health bars, like we said, a lot of that is just coming from Lonely on that Renekton there, chunking everyone down to half health first to make it so much easier for Yuri to clean up after.
No, he bought his team a ton of time with that, right? I mean, he knew that might be a one-way trip. He knew that he might not survive it, but damned if he wasn't going to take someone down with him, if he wasn't going to help set up a winning trade with Renekton's early power, with that ultimate. Like you said, as a Renekton, you value the levels early on, especially because of things like that. Yeah, okay, level 6. Yeah, thank you. You need those levels. I get that. But it's such a disproportionate amount of power that you could get for Renekton and how that ultimate synergizes with what that champion is able to do well. Croc able to grab the Eye of the Herald, and Lonely not going to jump on him. Yeah, everyone and their mother kind of partying up here in the top lane, rotating in about 8 minutes. Dud's going to get a bunch of turret plate gold. Yeah, the bot lane's been exciting, but the top lane has as well. It's Kabum in control here. All right, no towers have been taken down, but they're up about 1,000 gold. I'd love to see, just kind of where the turret plate gold goes. We've seen, Grell in the last game. The dragons are being taken from under his nose. He didn't get quite as much value as he wanted to out of his heralds. Let's see what Croc and company are able to do. They are reacting right now.
And with the heralds 4x4, about where you want to drop them, I feel like there are two schools of thoughts on how you want to utilize those heralds. One is, of course, for the macro pressure. If there's a particular lane you want to break open, get that lane out. Or the second is just for gold, right? Give it to that laner who you want to have gold here. With the state of the game here for Loud, I almost feel like you want to drop a topside to get Robo accelerated. Root and Seos are doing fine in this bot lane. In fact, Root is up CS. You're good to go. Tinone's in the mid lane is actually bullying out Yuri in the 1v1. Yuri's getting gold elsewhere by roaming faster, roaming heavier here. So instead of breaking that mid lane turret to get control of the map, I'd prefer to see Loud give gold over to Robo instead, because that Olaf can be the big difference maker. Yuri getting caught, no flash.
Oh, baby, Yuri's got himself a nice little Rakan ultimate, can't get the Abscond Abduct down. Seo's gonna grab the kill to mop it up. The Ignite went down, helped out with taking the Silas down. And now here, you've got an opportunity. Croc, like you said, with that macro pressure, sometimes you'll see drop the Herald in the mid lane, then you go to Dragon. You make the other team make a choice. Doesn't seem like that's exactly what they're going to go for here. Tinones does get the shove out in the mid lane. They've got the numbers advantage. What are they going to do with it?
I don't think Loud win this. It's a 4v4. Robo doesn't have teleport, and they blew the ultimate of Seos and Croc here. Everybody's up for Kabum. Ready, or all their ults, pardon me, are up here because Yuri was still dead. But they're, Kabum just walk up, and what are Loud going to do? At best, you kind of trade, and you can't even drop Herald into the mid lane. Sure, you get 2 plates and nothing else. Do you really want that gold being split by Seos and Tinones? I still think you go top, and if they had gone top, surrendered Dragon altogether there, maybe they even get first break, or even if they don't, it's still pretty close to taking that first turret.
And that gold that you were mentioning onto Robo, it does get to him, right? Maybe not how you would want, maybe not as much as you would want, but he got a lot of solo turret plate gold, crashing some waves in. It's still quite the deficit for him. Lonely is the first one to a mythic. Root following up here. Does the boy sitting on a Cutco collection here, just a bunch of knives in his back pocket. But yeah, Kabum walking away with that second dragon. They've been the aggressors all game. And yeah, you laid down some stats for us before we got on air. Seos going to take a belly bop there. Yuri coming down. They've got vision control over this river. It would be a 4v3. Croc gonna opt to drop the Herald here. Tinone's lurking. It's a 4v3, but they think it's a 4v3. It's a 4v4. There goes that tidal wave. Seos in some trouble here. Featherstorm out. Herald down as well. I don't think this one's gonna make it to the tower. Good response there by Kabum, unfazed in the face of a numbers disadvantage. Oh no! Until you do that, does the boy just a little too far forward, and a good punish there by Loud. Tinone's going to get into the fight quick enough. It's a 1-for-1 right now. 80 carry down, but support only down for Loud. Seos out of the screen right now. Both sides going to disengage here.
Just going to say before Seos won that again between duds. They both died, but Seos died later. And top side, Robo?
Yeah, maybe not here. He's got no ghost. Not has the sticking power, but I don't think he needs sticking power. Actually, okay, no, he did get the Gore Drinker up. So actually, on balance, he's just as strong as Lonely besides that level disadvantage. I didn't see the Robo had picked up his mythic just yet. Lonely not pressing the advantage quite as much here, but that is just so much CC. He does have the Ragnarok up, does Robo, throwing down the undertow. Gonna grab himself an axe again. There he goes. That's immunity. The W is down, but it doesn't matter. And the flash goes out as well. Robo holding on to his. Man, Robo, the man is fearless.
Yeah, I don't think he should have been winning that. And they were both actually just waiting for backup to arrive in that top lane. We say Robo is fearless, but Lonely, I think, was actually baiting the entire time as well. I actually think he could have fought that closer if he just pushed harder with that dominance up onto Robo there. Both of them had flash. Ultimately, Lonely looking to bait, I think, had to burn his flash, and Robo coming out ahead in that trade. But I want to go back to that bot lane fight, because that was way more exciting with everybody just kind of plowing into it in the bottom there. And more importantly, Herald got used and didn't get a charge off. And that was pre 14 minutes as well. Yeah, they got nothing for it there. Loud needed to pull the trigger faster. The idea was good. They saw Duds on his own. And as you had mentioned before, that Duds didn't have Mythic completed. Root did. They had the power advantage for Loud. But because they were trying to wait for Croc to get there to set up, they were waiting for Tinones to get there. Kabum got equal numbers. And not only did Kabum have equal numbers, Lonely had teleport. So that's 4.5 versus 4 there. The moment you have equal numbers, Loud can't pull the trigger. And this is that hesitation in the early game that has given them such bad early game statistics that make them look like a bottom side team rather than the middle of the pack that they actually are.
And that is so anathema to what we have known Loud at their best at, right? This is a team that dominates early game, or at least
you don't really want to all-in commit to this. I don't think you can, especially with Scary having the explosive cask ready to disengage as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Robo might have other ideas here. Duds, able to size up the Glacial Prison. Tidal Wave not going to find anybody. Scary buying his team some time. Lonely is in the backline, getting a lot of CC, a lot of damage down, rather. Emperor's Divide says, get the heck out of here, Yuri. Yuri was wreaking havoc in the backline. Tino's having to use his ultimate defensively twice now. No one dies just yet. Oh, almost. If Yuri gets that abscond down, the abduct is there to follow up. What? Every single ultimate was blown. 10 ultimates. RMC. Bingo or something.
10 ultimates and 0 deaths 4x4.
Yeah.
Nobody died at the end of the day. And you can see why I was a bit concerned for Loud with that particular play there. They are not strong enough to really go into this team fight. And to me, a lot of that's coming from this top lane. Lonely up 46 CS right now is a better team fighter, a better frontliner than Robo is. Robo's going in. Yeah. He's not strong enough to threaten members from Kabum. And I want to give huge props to Tinones on that play, because Tinones' Emperor's Divide was what bailed Loud out after that questionable engage there. If not for Tinones, Loud loses multiple members. They lose Dragon, and they might even have lost mid lane turret.
Yeah, I think you could put the phrase "if not for Tinones," just splatter that on the front of the Loud HQ there. Croc in some trouble now. He's getting just chunked down. He's not big enough just yet. Lonely into the back line he goes. It's a kill onto the jungler. That is just what they need. They're going to start up that neutral objective.
Well, 4x4, that's our if not for Tinones scenario not happening there. Emperor's Divide wasn't available, and Loud just got caught. Croc being the jungler going down is going to hurt a little bit as well. Kabum, they're trying to get bot side turret. They're trying to get Dragon at the same time. I'd actually love to see them rotate towards that Herald for that matter. But because they split, I didn't even realize Duds and Skuro actually in the mid lane. They weren't even helping Dragon. Because they split across all the lanes here, they're only going to get Dragon, maybe bot, if they can kill Robo.
Oh, and they just might be able to here with the tower going down. Oh my goodness, taking Lonely completely out of it. Robo has no business living there. You know that they're on Dragon. You know that you and the tower combined have about 800 health. Still opted into that one, a level down on Lonely with his ultimate up, and he survives. It's like you're getting rewarded for bad decisions, so no wonder it's building bad habits.
I feel like that encapsulates Robo in a nutshell for the most part there. He's got the second highest solo kills in the entire league at 5, tied with Lava here. But he's got some of the lowest kill participation, some of the lowest gold stats of all players here. So normally if you get kills, you have pretty good gold stats. But nah, Robo, he's somehow going to do both. He gets rewarded, as you said, for bad habits. And they did. Tinone's got that topside turret. Croc is going to get Herald here. Kabum really only lose that one outer for the most part. And they actually narrowed the gold gap somewhat a little bit here.
Okay, well, I mean, shows you what I know, I guess. But Robo did pull 2 bodies down there, and that's okay if the rest of your team is going to make stuff happen on other parts of the map. Like you said, Root and Seos were in the mid lane, Tinone's up on the top side, and Tinone's had the TP as well, right? So if stuff started to hit the fan, Tinone's could be, again, the savior, the bailout button for this Loud squad. Yuri looking for a flank. May not find it here. Seeing the rotations over. Tinone's going to dissuade anything there. 3 dragons right now for Kabum. That's what's got them in the lead, basically. And 3 kills. Half the kills onto Scary. That's something to watch, something to worry about a little bit. Whereas half your kills are on Root, your superstar AD carry, in theory, right? We talked about he hasn't been quite as advertised. He's still, adjusting, still acclimating to this roster. But he's got himself a golden opportunity here to be a carry. Robo, he's not having the early game that he wanted. Now, with Olaf and with Robo especially, we have seen him have bad early games on this champion and then just come back and get, a triple kill. And, oh, okay, he's right back in it. Never mind. Forget all we said. He is down 50 CS, though, right? So, yeah, Root is that win condition. But Tinones, you can never count him out on this Azir either. 2-item spike hit for Root. He's doing everything right now. Can they find the fight for him to pop off? Second Herald was picked up a little earlier by Loud as well. So that's another opportunity to try to get yourself back into this one.
And to that point of never counting out Robo and Tinones here, I feel like that is just something that applies to all of Loud. A lot of their wins have come from kind of rough early games where they are down gold. There's a reason why they're 10th in terms of goal difference at 15, and
Wow.
yet are tied 5-5 for wins and losses here. Their mid to late game resilience is incredible. And this is a team, as you mentioned, who have been together for a while. So they kind of know what they need to do to win and how to do it. As long as they don't lose, there's always the chance that they just come back with that one big team fight and just end the game. Kabum have the opposite problem where they're really good mechanically, but their losses, especially to these lower ranked teams, a lot of the time has come from questionable choices, engages, or just minor mistakes, people stepping out, getting caught here. So despite the goal difference between the two teams or the lead that we've seen Kabum have up to this point, Loud still look really threatening. The Herald being dropped into the mid lane here might be the trigger for a fight, but both the top laners are very far away right now.
Both of them are very far away, and only one of them, that's Lonely, has TP. There goes the culling. In response, Croc thrown out the Glacial Prison. Scary out of the fight. There goes the explosive cast. Croc is finished, or is he? Able to flash away, but Duds eventually picks him off. Seos out of there immediately after laying down the CC. The tower going to dissuade any further engage. Root into safety, looking to pick someone off. This is the flanks we saw the last game from Steps. Root, there's that killing spree for him. This is a good moment. Come on, Root. Over the wall you go. Laying down the day. Each one of those feathers hits hard. Kabum, tail between their legs. They're able to hightail it out of there, but Root isn't finished just yet. Great dodge. Oh, the Feather Storm gets him out of the bubble, and he punishes Skuro immediately. Damage down onto, Ignite down onto Yuri. Almost enough. I love that from Root. This dude needs a big game. It's shaping up for him, man.
4-0, 2/3 of all the kills onto Root, as I mentioned before. And this is what we're talking about with Loud. Can't count them out. Great engage to really narrow the kill difference, at least the goal difference. Also, a little bit more there. And I'd love to get to see a replay because I think Yuri actually cost Skuro his life. Hopping out that bush, popping the chains there. The initial engage was a bit of a slideshow, so we didn't see Lonely and Robo get there fast enough, but it is Lonely, as you mentioned, there first. And locking down Seos was actually pretty critical as well. They almost get him dead. They took out Croc immediately. Once again, the team couldn't quite follow up, but Robo turns this fight on its head here. That Gore Drinker giving him so much health. And look at this flash as well that's coming up. His one flash forces two. Duds and Skuro have to burn it. Oh, they didn't show us if Yuri kind of baited his team, but that's because another team fight is brewing here. Dragon is on the table, and it is Soul Point.
It is up on the Rift. Dragon's being taken kind of as scheduled. CBLOL has definitely gotten better at that. I feel like that was a gripe we had a lot more in the last couple years, waiting until the 9-10 minute mark to take that first dragon. But at the 23-minute mark, we're talking about Soul Point here. Mwah. You'll love to see that. Chef's kiss. Does the boy. Throws down the culling. Gets a decent amount of damage here. Yuri coming from Mars, looking for a flank.
They don't know.
They have no idea, but once he steps up even a little bit, thanks to those blue wards and those pink wards, they've got a line of vision there. And even if they were to blindly walk into Yuri, the chains go out, and that's their trigger. They say, he's over there. We're going this way. Guess what? But the damage might just be too much. Robo getting a shutdown. Top laners can't trade a kill right back. Yuri, there's the flank he was looking for. He got a stolen ultimate Emperor's Divide in, gets a couple kills, but they answer right back. It looked flashy. They got the out of the casters, but what did it really do? Not a lot. It leaves the jungler down for Kabum. Scary out of the fight. Croc and company going to grab themselves their first Drake of the game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem with that was Yuri came into the fight without an ultimate. And it felt like when he grabbed the Empress Divide, it was more of a desperation grab. Like, hey, who is there right here, right now, which I can take that from? Okay, I see Tinones. Let's take that. So no out coming in here. And Loud has no clue where Yuri is. They know that Yuri is a threat on the flanks, but they don't actually have vision. And you can see Yuri had no other target. That is not the optimal target. So Yuri actually doesn't participate in this fight. It's a 5v4 till the very end there. And by then, Root had already killed multiple members. You killed Root, but his job was done. And Robo, Tinones are still available. Croc is still alive. They've got all the tankiness they need. They've got all the damage they need. And that'll secure Loud their first Drake of the game.
And you hit two items on someone like an Olaf, all that ability haste coming in, because you've got to fight around the ultimate, right? If you fight around this Ragnarok, it doesn't matter how long you are down. If you've got a bruiser coming at you, all your instincts say, well, if we just lock him down, we're going to be okay. Lonely, come in here. Just, empower W him, and he just keeps marching through you at a disrespectful and quite frankly frightening speed. It just creates so much more room, right? You've got tons of CC to follow up there. Seos has been weaving in and out of trouble with this Rakan. He's been great. We haven't talked about him enough, I don't think. A bit of an unsung hero in this one. And just leaving Root and Tinones, like you said, completely free. Tinones mostly gotten himself the first kill of the game. We've seen this movie before. It's Lucian ultimate trade for Sejuani ultimate. In goes Scary. He does have the explosive cast. There goes the stolen Sejuani ult. That misses. Tinones getting the heck out of dodge. That's big for Kabum. With Tinones down, this is a fight that they have a much better opportunity in. Here comes Robo. Oh, baby. Popping the Ragnarok into Lonely, who's got the GA, and they don't know which way to go. Robo says, come back here. I've only got eyes for you, darling. There goes the GA. Pops that. Not going to chase it into the tower. Scary looking for something. He doesn't have the explosive cast, though. All he can do is flash if he wants it. Yuri in back with the TP. Man, you can never count out loud. Robo, with the way this early game was going, with the fact that he's still down 50 CS, the impact that he's still having on this champion, it doesn't feel right.
Two things, Robo. First of all, that is a Hallmark card from hell. Get back here, darling. You didn't get it away. Kind of scary vibes, but also, Robo, in that fight, like you said, he fell behind in lane significantly. Doesn't matter. He scales up here. And even in that fight, he didn't look like he was doing too much because he was hammering on Lonely, of all people, who is probably the tankiest member of Kabum. But just physically standing there, you saw what happened to Scary. Scary had to take a detour to get away. Multiple members of Kabum didn't have the ease. Baron is on the table, but they're not strong enough. And the gold lead 4x4 I've been tracking over and over and over again. It's still 2,500 in favor of Kabum. Kabum is making the gold back on waves, on just farming, whereas Loud, sure, you get kills, but you're losing out everywhere else, and it forces Loud to have to continuously make these sort of plays to stay relevant in this game.
And I appreciate you pointing that out, because it feels like the momentum is swinging more than it is in actuality into Loud's favor. But kills are one thing. What do you get off the back of them? That's another. Kabum, they wanted that mid tier 2. They wanted a little more map pressure. But the scaling is on the side of Loud. So I guess, look, extending games, waiting for your moment to strike, right? We said you can't count out Loud. Their early game stats are, quite frankly, eye-watering. Just not good. But their late game is great. This is a squad that has played together for a long time. Two of the most veteran players in the scene in your solo lanes, calling the shots. Tinones and Robo, been to a couple international events in the last couple years. MSI 2021 for Pain Gaming for Tinones and Robo, and then going to Worlds last year for Loud. These are guys that have been there and done that. They have been in these situations so many times, and on champions that they are so comfortable on, and with a team that they are so comfortable with. Things are looking all right here, but like you said, let's talk about Kabum a little bit. It was a bit of a sloppy fight in that last one, right? Yuri wasn't there. He had to TP back late, and Kabum gave Loud a window back into the fight. Now we're going to see a bit of a lull. Well, just kidding. That dragon is up. Okay, there's your total damage. Look at that. I mean, it's a 3-headed monster with Loud.
Always has been. I think any roster with Tinones
is down, or Lonely rather taking down Seos. Fight split up. Lonely surviving way too long. Does try to kite away. Robo has to pick his target. He finally gets one, and Dud's able to survive long enough to deal damage. Root and Tinones still alive, but their front line is gone. They don't have the tools to punish this do Kabum. All their go buttons have been blown. This amount of health can be chewed through immediately by Loud. They sack the Chemtech Soul in favor of walking away with more map pressure.
Scaling might favor Loud in terms of composition 4x4, but Kabum have got themselves so, and that goes a long way towards nullifying that. In this replay, remember I had set up Tinones. Watch what happens to Tinones in this fight, because Scary gets a beautiful, amazing flank. They need the disengage, but the moment Scary kind of goes over that wall, Tinones gets bounced away, out, and Lonely. First stun wasn't to Root. It was onto Tinones. That's why we didn't see the Emperor's Divide come out. That's why we saw the entire front line get chewed through. There was no backup coming, no backup available for them. And even after that fight 4v4, I'm left looking, saying, okay, Tinones is alive, Root's alive. Can they actually kill Kabum? Because there's
you thought about it. Yeah,
like they could.
Yeah, and I think you could see that thought was going through their minds, right? They were kind of hovering around this dragon, like maybe we could. Is it worth it? right? You know, if even to maybe snag, snag the fourth Drake there and make it a 3-2 as opposed to a 4-1. But they decide against it, leave this game still within, like you were saying, about a 2,000 gold lead for Kabum. Now it's Loud having to walk into darkness here. Yuri looking for a flank. That's what he's always doing on Twisted Fate, on Akali, on anything. This man playing these types of champions really well. Over the wall he goes. The pincer move there. Croc misses the glacial prison. Yuri Skuro throwing out the ultimate. Lonely trying to get into the back line, but he's decently low. Trying to lay down the CC. Yuri is down low, and now the fight can turn. Root and Tinones are alive, and now they've got a front line. They can absolutely kill Kabum. Croc missed the ultimate. It didn't matter. He walks away with 2 kills, and Loud are going to walk away with a Baron here. Robo just standing there menacingly playing bodyguard onto this Baron pit. Scary, thinking about the miracle steal, deciding himself that it is not worth it. Loud play the fight backwards very well. They keep Root and Tinones safe, and they are able to turn it.
Azir, Xayah, Rakan 4x4. This triumvirate of champions, they're just so dirty when you play defensively here. I want to highlight, Tinones didn't even have to use Emperor's Divide. That fight, Kabum went all in on Root, and Root played so incredibly well, using that Featherstorm as needed, and Yuri on the flank just got collapsed on. It wasn't a flank. It became a 4v1. Robo wasn't even at that fight. Robo was split pushing bot side, recall late, no TP either. So Loud won that 4v5 by changing it from a 4v5 to a 4v1, and then a 5v4.
Well, and that's right. That's the other side of it, right? It's like in basketball, right? They say, okay, double teams are annoying, but it always leaves someone open, right? It's a similar principle. If you are getting pincered on, you've got to make the decision. And that's why you see, guys flanking, if assuming, again, they don't just get caught out immediately and they're not walking over wards, it forces the other team to make a decision. Whereas you're just kind of playing chicken, you're playing ARAM, right? Saying who's going to blink first, who's going to bite first. We have a numbers advantage. We don't know where their mid laner is. He shows up. Then the onus is on you, right? And unless you are on the same page, like Loud are, we talked about it. That is one thing that, despite the things that have gone wrong for this team, that is one thing you cannot question about this squad. They look like they're on the same page in the late game. And right now, the unholy trinity, Xayah, Rakan, Azir, allowing this team to have their way with Kabum. And Robo got himself a third item, the Spear of Shojin. I haven't seen that item in a while. Given that that's been gone for the last 2 years, and that's when I've gotten into TFT, and that item is so popular in TFT, it's just so weird to see it here. I had to do a little double take. I'm like, well, TFT gives mana, or Shojin gives mana on autos. I don't think a Robo need. No, shut up. 4x4. That's not wrong game.
Hey, man,
methodical push
for those axes. He's checking out a lot of them.
Unironically, right? And now Yuri actually going in here. He's got the Sejuani ultimate if he wants to lock down Robo, but the Ragnarok is available and in his back pocket. There's that glacial prison. It's supposed to cast out, follow up CC, Tinones, he could free fire. Yuri pops a stopwatch. The ultimate goes down from Lonely, and they have to back away with the super minions and with the range they have. It's just too many weapons for Loud. The 3-headed dragon striking again. They are chewing through Kabum here.
And I'm just struggling to see how Kabum are going to try and change this. We see the
TP coming in. It's going to come down to something like this.
I don't think they win this.
Now looking for a way in. He doesn't have some sort of cheeky ultimate. Maybe he can grab another Emperor's Divide, use it to close the gap, but he cannot grab the Glacial Prison. He just yoinked that from Croc, wasn't able to use it to its full effect. Loud, not biting off more than they could chew here. They got what they wanted. They got an inhibitor, and now applying that pressure becomes so much easier. And thank goodness, because again, your top laner doesn't have teleport.
Amazing Baron power play coming through from Loud there. They really maximized the use of it. And I want to highlight that all the defensive ultimates were still up. Tinone's Root had their ults up, which is why I was looking at Kabum's TP and going, this is desperation. Yuri doesn't win this. But as I was saying before that push, I don't see how Kabum win this. Scary's gotten some beautiful ultimates there, and it just does not matter. The defensive power, the scaling from Loud is too strong. Dragon, Elder Dragon, soon to spawn here. Loud have full control over this river right now. Kabum kind of have to walk into them. And if they couldn't find an engage before, imagine trying to walk into this Azir poke, into this Xayah poke, into Seos, who's now threatening flanks, looking to be proactive and actually engage onto Kabum.
Yeah, RMC, we are on the same wavelength, brother. It is a sober, like because I'm thinking, look, this is just a foregone conclusion, right? I mean, barring an epic throw from Loud, it just feels like eventually they will win this war of attrition. It is a sobering realization when you, as the team that are behind, execute everything how you should. It wasn't everything, but execute almost everything how you should, and you go, oh no, that was our ceiling, and just they didn't even have to blow anything. That is a very sobering place to be. But that is not too dissimilar to where Kabum find themselves right now. Here comes the Hail Mary. 4th and 10, 1 second left. What do Kabum have in them? Loud, just allowing themselves to get in. Oh, the ultimate immediately. And Rue cleans up Skuro. That's 5v4. No tidal wave available. Sales over the wall looking for something different. There goes the ultimate from Tinones, stolen from Tinones by Yuri. A Robo in the backline just causing so much havoc. Hey, Scary has to get the heck out of there. And actually, Robo may have been up more than he could chew. Duds, this is the hero moment, buddy. Let's go. Les Duez win the divorce. Oh my goodness. Rue can't get close enough. Duds weaving in and out. He's able with Lonely to get the kills that they need. The dragon is still up, and it is a foregone conclusion here. RMC Kabum win the fight somehow.
I am speechless for before. How? Just how? Dutch just refused to die. It just came down to Dutch brute forcing that fight. However, the price of that fight here, because Loud had done so much setup, because of their effective Baron power play, they lose both their Nexus turrets from it. Dutch trying to solo the Elder 1v1. I think he's got enough lifesteal with that Bloodthirster that he can actually do it. Here's the replay, and I'm still trying to parse exactly how they won this. And I'm just looking at Duds right now. I feel like he's got to be the key to how it happened. He survived to the end after all.
Yeah. Yeah, and the initial ultimate was great. And there's the follow-up.
Okay, yeah, it just looks like they didn't have threat onto Yuri for the most part, onto Duds, and Yuri's stopwatch buys so much time there. It actually isolates who was that? I think it was,
yeah, I mean, and Robo was just taken completely out of the fight, right? It was a good stopwatch, but going into that, right, that was a good, the Emperor's Divide was stolen there, and he just, like, he saw Robo go in, he said, look, I have an opportunity to split this team up, and he shoved the damage dealers of Loud away from the fight.
Yeah, that was massive. So Duds is the beneficiary.
Ciao, bye-bye.
That's fair. And Kabum really needed that win desperately there. We're talking about how it felt so bad for them up to this point. They get Elder, and Elder is huge because it means that the other team can't fight into you. If the fights are even close, they automatically win with that execute. So we're seeing Kabum get to go to Baron. Loud just say, nope, we ain't doing this right now. You take Elder, you take Baron. We'll just push out the lanes right now, try and stall for the next 3 minutes, or next 2 minutes actually. They probably can fight a Baron buff, just not the Elder buff. Robo split pushing bot side, top still has supers, and mid got pushed all the way as well.
RMC, my brother in the Christ the Redeemer statue, my brother in CBLOL, we have gotten two absolute beauties so far. CBLOL is delivering, man. Yeah. Occasionally, look, in any league, you're going to get some clunkers, but with how hotly disputed the standings have been in CBLOL this year, this is exactly what we wanted. My predictions are still good. I know you picked Pain, because of course you did. And I did as well. I didn't think Vivocade were going to pull off the upset last game, but they made that closer than they had to. But this is exactly what you want, right? I mean, in every game, you don't have a foregone conclusion. You have no idea what's going to happen in this game. And I think, to be fair, coming into this game, I said, I have no idea what is going to happen. Yep. I was not expecting this, but it was not out of the realm of possibility. Chemtech Soul as well as the Elder, right? For Kabum, they've got a couple tools in their pocket. That Chemtech Soul, that's not nothing. I feel like we haven't talked about that enough, that is allowing Kabum to hang on in these fights. And now they are doing to the mid inhibitor what Loud did to the top inhibitor, which is now respawned for Kabum.
Despite all of that, for it doesn't necessarily feel like Kabum have this in the bag. It still
no, not at all.
Yeah. They're very effectively using the Baron and the Elder, but the moment it wears off, I'm expecting Loud to kind of bite back, and I'm actually really happy that this happened this way. I didn't think Loud would be able to do this, but they have been. And all these older teams, from last split, which have struggled so much in the first round robin, they're coming back in. They're picking off the fight. Robo!
He's got the GA. The Elder doesn't matter here for now. Follow up CC from the tidal wave. They get the GA out of Robo. That is big.
Is Elder? I think Elder dropped in that fight because I didn't see the execute come down on Robo.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. I think there's a lot of like little swirlies down, right? It's hard to see, but yeah, no, because I saw when they were making the push onto the mid inhibitor, you saw the little lines, right? You saw the oh hey, you're in execute range. But I think I guess it has fallen off by this point, or maybe it doesn't show up because it's coded to be like, oh, there's a GA, so it doesn't actually matter. Maybe no, that's probably not what happened. That's silly.
So
Yeah, I think it's off. Yeah.
I think it's off also because Kabum recognized that we're about to lose the Elder buff. And we already said, Loud can fight a Baron buff. Yes, Baron gives you additional AP and AD, but it's not an immediate execute. And the fights have been going in the favor of Loud for the most part until that Elder fight. So Kabum being respectful about that, saying, we've got enough. We took an inhibitor. We're good to go. Let's just do one last hurrah with this Elder. It took them a little bit longer to engage than they thought, so it wore off. Now, Baron buff has also worn off. So if ever there was a time for a counter-strike here from Loud, it'd be now. And normally this is when I'd be calling for a TP from your top laner to find an engage here. But guess what? Robo doesn't have TP. So I'm going to call from Tinotes. Tinotes, I believe in you. Find a TP into the back, sweep them in, especially when you see Yuri on the other side. If you ever see an opportunity, Loud, pull the trigger, because Kabum's been doing that to you plenty in the last 3 minutes.
And it's so tough because, I mean, you know, Kabum, they've been taking care of business with this push. The deepest that Tinones could theoretically TP into is in the river. That's not what you need. With, you know, and with no objectives up right there, why do you TP in the river? There's going to be no fight around there. So what does it matter? Now, that being said, in a minute and 17 seconds, another Elder Dragon is going to spawn back-to-back 40-minute games to start off my Saturday. It's just... And a reminder to you guys, a reminder to me as well, stay hydrated. This is going to be fun. Now setting up the vision are Loud. Again, they can team fight a little bit better. Their scaling favors them. Duds goes right in onto Robo, chewing right through him. Gets the culling down as well. Is there a response ultimate? Yup, as like clockwork. There it goes, the Glacial Prison. And now you get the GA down from Lonely. His flash is down as well. What can he do? There goes Explosive Cast, trying to buy his team some time. Yuri, what can he do? He's looking for a flag potentially. Tinones able to knock Does the Boy out of the fight. Gets a stopwatch down. Yuri in the backline. The health bars are so low. Shut down there for Root. Robo in the backline. He doesn't need the GA because he is an Olaf and he has an ultimate. Tinones playing with his food. Yuri has big health, big damage, but into 4 members, he's not going to try anything. Loud come out ahead, 2-1, and crucially, RMC, they take down Scary. There's no smite available to contest. Yuri bullied out of the mid lane by Root. Again, here's TP. Yeah, the Nexus towers are down. They got that through the top push. Now they're going through the middle. If they could take down an inhibitor, it's going to help them out tremendously. These death timers are long, man. 20 seconds apiece for Duds and Scary. But Loud recognizing even with that. Oh, just kidding. There goes the ultimate. Yuri got himself a Zai ultimate, able to disengage using it. Brock almost has the Glacial Prison back up, and there's no towers to fight under. Once they get that ultimate, they pull the trigger immediately. There goes Croc. Gets the CC down. Skuro down. Yuri down. Lonely will follow. Loud win the game. I cannot believe it.